video. Just a few exercises that we can do standing, so very simple, that you can do pretty much anywhere in your house, in your garden, and just something to kind of keep you moving, and I'll throw in some adaptations as well for some of the exercises. So we're going to start just by really thinking about how we are standing, and start with your feet. The feet, there's a lot that comes from the feet, and a lot of problems can begin with the feet, so it's a really good place to start. Your toes should be pointing forwards. Often, I think we can often be in this position here, and drawing our toes forward, we often maybe feel that we're doing this. So we need to just have a think about how we're stood, the toes are pointing forward, and I often say just kind of rock your weight forward and back between your toes and your heels, and often that can just correct any problems that might be there. If we're throwing our weight back or too far forward, then things can happen with our spine. So if you're just stood or standing in a queue, just kind of think to yourself, how am I stood, where is my weight? And you should be able to lift your toes and your heels quite easily between the forward and the back. Then take your focus to your roll, if you're rolling your feet, which often we do, whether we roll them in or we roll them out, and just have a think about a tripod effect. So the big toe, the little toe and the heel should all be connected to the floor. So are you rolling your feet in? Is your little toe off the floor? If so, then try to draw those ankles up so your little toe is touching the floor and your big toe, and that your heel's connected as well. So just thinking about the feet and where your weight is distributed, that might have corrected quite a lot of things already. Then take your focus to your knees and just make sure that the knees are soft, so they're not in a locked position, they're not kind of really bent, they're just in a very soft, kind of natural position. Take your focus to your pelvis and just have a sense of openness here, and that your tailbone, as we call it, or the base of your spine, there's just like a heaviness, so we're kind of just dropping everything down. So we're not sticking the pelvis kind of out behind us here, but we're not tucking it in. We're just trying to find a very normal, neutral stance with our pelvis. Then take your focus to your tummy, just make sure that's kind of drawn in, not all the way, just a little bit of a connection, and that your rib cages aren't flaring. So you're drawing the rib cage down. That your shoulders are in line with your ribs, that are in line with your hips, and there should be a nice straight line all the way down, so that you've kind of corrected potentially any thing that was happening with the pelvis or the back, and again just kind of taking the weight forward and back in those feet there. Just feel kind of nice and open across the shoulders and long in the back of the neck. So you've got that lovely kind of free arms, the knees are soft, and you kind of feel ready to go. Now the challenge is to keep that position the whole way, unless we're going to move the spine, that you need to feel that you're in that position with your spine, with all the movements that we're going to do, okay? So find that weight in your feet, have a little rock, do a little checklist yourself. Are my knees soft? Am I soft in my pelvis? Is my tummy working? So just pulling that belly button in a little bit. And is my rib cage soft? Are my shoulders relaxed? It's quite a lot to think about, okay? So you're just simply going to take an arm and you're going to turn the palm towards the midline and float it down. If you've done my chair exercise, this is exactly the same thing, but we can do this standing as well. Lovely. And if you want to add weights to this, if you've got weights yourself, or just grab some tins of something or bottles of water, then you can easily add more effort to this exercise. Allow the arms to raise. Even if they just get here, that's fine. Just you're trying to get them as close as you can to your ear and down. And then we're going to try and take both up and allow the shoulders to move, okay? It's really important that you're allowing those shoulders to move and those shoulder blades to glide along the back. And just take some lovely breaths in, some lovely breaths out, filling up the body with oxygen. Really lovely. And as those arms are coming up and down, just have a think about what's happening to your spine. It should be in that same position. Okay, so if I just turn to the side, as your arms come up, there should be no extension of the back. So you're using your tummy muscles to keep those ribs drawn down here. Okay, and after we've just done this last one, you're going to turn the palms back behind you here, and we're going to take both arms up. Now this is when we start to perhaps lose that lovely straight line there. So use your tummy muscles to kind of connect your rib cage to your hips. So that chain is small, it's not open here, okay? So you take the arms up, trying to get them by your ears, and floating them down again. See if you can breathe out as the arms come up. Breathe in as the arms come down. So you breathe out as the arms come up. Draw navel to spine. Keep that lovely connection and breathe in as the arms come down. Okay, I'm going to just turn to face you this way. So let's go. Breathing out, breathing in, and breathing out, and breathing in. Lovely. Let's do two more. Breathing out. Really reach those arms up. Breathing out. And the last one, breathing out and breathing in. Lovely. Give those shoulders a lovely roll there. Well done. Okay, so from there, we're going to just have a little think about the legs and the knees with some squats. So people do squats all the time. It's a really, really good exercise to do, but it's a really efficient movement that we actually do all the time in life. If you think about what your body is doing in a squat, we're essentially sort of doing this flexion of the hip and the knee. So when we are bending down, which is what we should be doing to pick up things or to load the washing machine or the dishwasher or whatever it is, we shouldn't be bending here. We should be using our knees and our quadriceps and our muscles to do that. So squat exercises are really, really essential to do. But they come in all shapes and forms, from big, wide squats that you see kind of people doing here, to single leg squats where we're kind of here and bending up and down, to walking squats here, forward and back. You've got squats with your feet together. There's jumping squats, there's all sorts of squats, which is great if you're doing them properly. And the amount of times we see squats going wrong is a lot, too many. So in Pilates, it's a very simple exercise that we just call Pilates squats, okay? So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see the alignment of my body here. You're going to have your feet about hip width apart. And if you can, we're going to take our arms forward as we come down, just so we can really check in with that line that we've got here. If you can, try to get your arms by your ears, so you're kind of reaching up your fingertips, and you've got that line coming from your shoulders all the way to your bottom. Stick your bottom out, and then push your heels as they come back up again. So I've got a mirror to kind of check my alignment here. You want to try and draw the rib cage in and really pull the navel to spine and hold this position and coming up. Because I'm sending my bottom behind me as if I'm sitting on a chair, I'm keeping that alignment of my pelvis and my spine and my ribs. So I'm sort of sending my fingertips forward and sending my bottom back behind me. Keep the chin lifted, the chest up, don't drop. Keep it here and push. Okay, and you're working quite hard. Now, even if you want to have your hands on your hips and you're just bending that much, that is absolutely fine, because you're still contracting all those muscles and you're still working your quadriceps and the back of your legs, your calf muscles. You're working all the muscles around that knee joint, okay? So if you're suffering with weak knees, Work the muscles. Your knee's just another joint. If you work the muscles around your joints, then it's going to help them stabilise. So even if your hands are on your hips and you're just bending and stretching and going a little bit further and sticking your bottom out, so you're kind of in that squat position. If you want to raise your arms here or here, then that's fine. You might want to hold on to a chair or the side or the kitchen top and just bend and stretch, okay? So see how I'm keeping that line of my pelvis and my shoulders and up. Okay, what we see too often are people kind of squatting here and they're bending and they're just bending into the back. It's doing nothing for you apart from giving you a bad back. So Pilates squats, practice them. Just doing 5 or 6, you're going to be really firing up those muscles, working really hard. Okay, lovely. Then you can take that principle to all the other squats that you might be doing, whether that's these squats here, and keep the kinetic chain, so keep your shoulders, ribs and hips over the top of each other here, okay? So you're bending and stretching. The same if you're squatting here and you're bending and you're stretching. So you're working into the legs. So give those legs a little shake. So depending on the level you want to work, remember, hands here and just little bends and stretches are absolutely fine, or you're going to go for those full Pilates squats, okay? Lovely. So what I've got now is a little tennis ball. So if you have a ball, tennis ball, potentially anything like this, or even if you want to use an apple, then you can do this. And you're going to pop the ball between your ankles here. And these are called tennis ball raises or rises. And again, you can hold on to something here if you want to hold on to the kitchen top or a chair, okay? Otherwise, navel to spine, thinking about that lovely Pilates stance. So from your feet, your knees, your hips, your ribs, your shoulders. You're going to bend. Imagine you're sliding down a wall. So there's no movement here. Bend and stretch. Bend and stretch. And now really press those toes into the floor and see if you can come to a rise and coming down. Now that rise might just be a little rise, just a tiny bit of your heels off the floor. So bend, see how my knees aren't knocking together, so keep the knees in that alignment, and then just a little bit. Maybe it's just here, maybe it's all the way up. And if you're squeezing that ball, it's quite tricky, so you've got to kind of keep that there. It's trying to keep everything in line. Bend, stretch, zip up in the centre, and plant the toes into the floor, coming up and down. So it's a really great exercise for the calves. Okay, maybe pop your hands on your hips if that helps. Up and down. Let's do a few more. So you're bending, so no movement here, remember. Okay, depending on your Achilles at the back of your ankle, really depends on how much you can bend. So you might only bend that much, that's fine. So bend your knees, holding on to something if you need to, stretch and press those toes into the floor as you come up. Okay, lovely. Let's do a couple more, keep breathing. Navel to spine. Good. If it's too painful with the ball, just take the ball away. It just adds a little bit more of a challenge. Up, down. Let's make this our last one. Bend, stretch, up, and down. Okay, lovely. Then, if you're brave enough, you can have a nice little massage at the end with that ball, which is quite nice. Okay, so let's just pop that over there. From there, we're going to come to a wall or a door. Don't worry if you haven't got that, you can maybe find it later, but I'm just going to use the mirror to show you here an exercise called sliding down the wall. So it's quite hard, I think, sometimes in a house to find a patch of wall, so maybe use a door if you can. Have your feet quite far apart or a good distance from that surface. And this again sort of your squats really, but you're sliding down and then you're pushing everything back in to that surface. So try to connect, don't worry about your head if it's connected or not, shoulders and pelvis if you can, but don't worry too much. You're just keeping the alignment of your shoulders, your ribs and your pelvis, and you're coming down. Obviously the further you come down, the more you're working into those legs. And then try to connect the pelvic floor and the centre as you push up. And you can breathe in on the down and out on the up, or vice versa, okay? So find which works for you. Keep the chin lifted, coming down and pushing everything up. Really draw navel to spine and work into those quadriceps. Okay, this is really working on your alignment as well. Now it depends how slidey you are on the ball, how much this works. Breathing in, breathing out. Lovely. So let's just do a few more of these. Again, you might just go this far. Okay, so everyone's different. Everybody watching this will be at a different stage of their fitness. So even if you're just bending and stretching a little bit, that's absolutely fine. This is very similar to those squats in terms of the legs that are working. It's just a different way of thinking. Okay, so shake off the legs there if you need to. We're going to do some roll downs, which is a really classic exercise that I just say should just be in the curriculum of life that everyone should be able to do. I did some of this in one of my other videos in a chair. So, oh no, I didn't do it in the chair. I think I thought I should have done it in the chair. So you could, even if you're sitting, just do a little half one. Again, I'm going to show you against a wall, but also I'm going to show you free standing, okay? So don't worry if you haven't got a surface. If you have got a surface, it's just a lovely sort of source of feedback. So have your feet a bit further away and connect as best you can. Then take your head away and then just press your spine, and you're going to roll your spine bit by bit by bit off that surface. And then you're going to bend into the knees a little bit and you're just going to come all the way down. Again, it might just be halfway. It might be all the way. So as far as you can go, you're going to come down. You're going to give your head and shoulders a little shake at the bottom. Breathe in. As you exhale, connect your centre. So draw the belly button in. Now slide the bottom back so your pelvis is in a neutral position. See if you can really imprint that spine bit by bit by bit back onto the wall. So I'll show you again. You take the head, the shoulders, the top of the back. Now try to really press that spine into that surface. And you're going to come down, and at some point your bottom will slide, which it should do, that's fine. Coming down. Have a little pause at the bottom, and then slide your bottom back to where it started, and then keep the bottom still as you imprint your lower spine back into the surface, the middle of your back, top of your back, shoulders, head. And you can just do this all day long. And it might be that you get to a part of your back that's a bit sticky and you just think, oh, that bit is just coming off in chunks. So that's fine. Just maybe massage it a little bit into that area. Just really work hard to try and press it into that surface and coming down. Relax the shoulders. Forget about the arms, they're just going with you. Breathe in at the bottom, exhale. Draw navel to spine to that bottom, and now keep that bottom still, and you're coming all the way back up. So you can just do loads of those. I'm going to show you freestanding sideways here. So it's quite nice to start up against the surface if you can, and then coming away from that surface to start in your lovely starting position. So you take the head forward, it's exactly the same thing. Imagine that you're peeling off. Now really pull the tummy in, so draw the belly button in to strengthen the core to support the back. Again, you might just come to here, and that's absolutely fine, and then you come back up again. You go as far as is comfortable for you. Okay, I'm going to go all the way down on this one. And you can go as quick, well not too quickly, but you can take it as slow or as quick as you kind of want. And you the lower half of my back. I'm really trying to keep that curve. That curve, 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 curve. And then I come back up again. Let's go again. So take the head forward. I'm sort of imagining I'm diving up and over a little fence. Okay, and then I might release everything down. And I'm really drawing navel to spine. Good. And one last one. Another watch point. Lots of people, when they come, take their head down. If you watch, they send their weight back into their heels. And you see how I'm sort of doing that. So you must keep your weight even over your feet. So a little test is when you're at the bottom, if you've put your weight back, can you lift those heels? You should be able to lift the toes and the heels. And if you've really pulled your weight back, you won't be able to lift your heels. So just really watch for that. As you come up, press those feet into the floor. Is my tripod in my feet still working? And just roll the shoulders there. So you can do maybe 8 to 10 of those. You can do roll downs obviously any time of the day, but in the morning you might feel that your back is a bit more stiff. And it's just quite a nice way actually to wake up the spine. Often I say to people, if you can't find the time when the kettle's boiling, or even if you're in the shower, as long as you don't slip over, clearly it's quite a good time to just do some roll downs. Wash your feet whilst you're down there. It's just a really functional movement. Just any movement is good. So if you can really get that spine moving, then please try to do that. Because a lot of back problems come from people just not moving their spine, and your spine can do many, many movements. And we just need to retrain it sometimes into what it can do. So just take the feet a little bit wider. We'll just take a couple of side reaches. So just to remind your spine that it can go sideways here. Take a breath in and stretch up and coming down. And see how my pelvis here is nice and still. So it's about the spine. I'm not sticking the hips out here. I'm moving the spine up and over, and I'm really stacking, and I'm coming down. A lovely, easy movement. This is movement 1 with my arm. Movement 2 is with my spine. An added extra is to take the other arm and then come up. That's quite hard. So only do that if you feel strong enough, okay? So arm up, arm over, other arm, and then you're reaching up, 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 and arm down. So I'll just do the normal one, up and over, breathe, try not to twist, keep looking forward, stretching up and down, and up, and over, and breathe, and up, and down. Okay, so again, side reaches, really easy to do. So a nice little exercise just to finish with. We take a lovely deep breath in as the arms come up, and out as they come back behind us. Breathe in and shrug your shoulders, and exhale to release. 3 times. Breathe in, shrug those shoulders, exhale, release. And again, breathing in and exhale to release. Try not to dip the head here, but keep the head where it is as you release the arms up and float them down. And again, breathing in and out. Breathing in, shrug, shrug, shrug. Try not to flare the rib cage here, so keep everything tucked in if I turn here. Breathing in, so you're not stretching, you're keeping the ribs closed down. Breathing in, breathing out. Keep the head where it is, nice and long, reaching up and reaching out. And then just roll the shoulders there. And so to just finish, come back to that standing position. Do the checklist yourself. Feet, maybe have a look at them. Are my toes pointing forward? Is my weight even between my toes and my heels? Are my knees off lock? Do I feel nice and open in my hips? Do I feel slightly heavier in the back of the pelvis? Is my ribs, shoulders, ribs, hips, are they all in a nice straight line as best as I can? And are my shoulders relaxed? And am I long in the back of the neck? And also, if you think about ears away from shoulders, it's quite a nice sort of vision to kind of have. And take a lovely deep breath into your rib cage. And exhale. And in. And exhale. And last one, in. And exhale. Wonderful, good. So hopefully it's given you a few ideas of just some Pilates movements you can do standing. Whether you do that whole video again or you just take 2 or 3 exercises that really work for you and add them into your week, then that's brilliant. Just keep moving as best you can. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed